Geno Smith continues to steal the show at Seattle Seahawks training camp. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We have made it to the weekend. We have made it through yet another day of Seattle Seahawks training camp. Yesterday was day number 3. And as always, from any training camp day for any football team, you can learn a lot if you choose to. Obviously, some people are still kind of easing their way back into the football thing. Maybe they're going to pick it up when the preseason starts, which is not too far away. Maybe they're going to wait until the regular season starts. But for those of us who decide to engage all the time, like I certainly do, you can pick up some pretty cool stuff from training camp. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been hearing. If you want to see a more in-depth rundown of things, there are several articles out there that summarize the action of day 3. Greg Bell has this one on the News Tribune. John Boyle has this one on Seahawks.com. And Brian Nemhauser has his camp notes up. So there's quite a bit out there for those of you who maybe want to get a brief rundown of what happens on certain days of training camp from a perspective of somebody who was actually there and was actually trying to really observe things for reporting purposes. So we're going to run through what the people had to say, but there's plenty of good data out there. Most of the stuff we've heard is good. I think the main thing coming out of the Seattle Seahawks training camp so far is the really strong play of a certain starting quarterback, which unfortunately contrasts a little bit with the not so great play of the backup quarterback. Before I get into that though, thank you for watching the video. Please like this video if you haven't already, helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. Click the bell for notifications. Consider becoming a channel member, costs $2 a month. Those are the best ways to help out the channel. Let's go ahead and take a look at what people had to say. And there's quite a bit out there. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these articles, but I do want to capture some really notable highlights, some really strong sentiments that came out of this particular Seahawks camp session. So the headline concerns Geno Smith. The headline concerns Geno Smith and what he's doing right now, and contrasting it, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, with the not so great play of Sam Howell so far. And this is a little bit of a sore subject with some Seahawks fans. I know some Seahawks fans really like Sam Howell, really hoping that he can become the starter sooner rather than later, but several of the articles I just mentioned say there is no QB competition. Everything that I'm seeing indicates that Geno Smith is playing great at training camp right now. He's spinning the ball all around the field, hitting DK Metcalf for big plays, hitting JSN for big plays. He had a touchdown to Tyler Lockett, which honestly more of an amazing catch by Lockett than anything else. But still, Geno Smith did not have a turnover yesterday at training camp, which is notable because Nemhauser noted that the defense was a little more locked in because they haven't been doing stellar over the first 2 days of camp, and they wanted a day where they would actually, be able to dictate the direction of the way in which the practice was going. Now, they did show some improvement. They got a little more pressure on Geno or Howell or Walker, I guess. They were a little stickier in coverage, but Geno was still able to make plays, do some good things, and overall continue to look like he might be on track to have his best season ever. Now, we're going to have to see if the offensive line will allow him to do that. As of right now, I'm not entirely convinced, but my point is Geno Smith looks ready to play some really good football right now. The main question is there enough stuff around him to permit that? And this is from Corbin. He's talking about how good Geno looked. And we got Condota here expressing a similar sentiment. And baked into this stuff about Geno Smith is discussion of how inaccurate Sam Howell has been so far. If you go to the Greg Bell article, he talks a little bit about how Howell just hasn't really looked great so far, and he just hasn't been accurate. And yesterday in particular, it was rough. So we got some work to do here. And look, When we traded for Sam Howell, I firmly believed we were trading for a backup quarterback. I didn't think we were trading for QB competition. I didn't think we were trading for even really a quarterback of the future. And I'm okay with that. I think that giving up a fourth round pick and a sixth round pick for a good backup quarterback, a better than average backup quarterback, is totally fine. But I don't have super high aspirations for Howell taking the starting job anytime soon. So if that was something you were tuning in for, you were hoping that Howell would start to at least begin to assert himself as the better quarterback on this team, it's not happening yet. And you can see this in some of the other articles as well. So, again, I know there are some big Howell fans out there, some guys who really want to see that guy succeed and get on the field. But right now, Geno Smith is far and away the best quarterback on this roster, and this team's trying to win. A vast majority of teams in the NFL try to win every season. So I continue to believe that that's the right way to go, and I think that's where we're going. So beyond the Geno Smith, Sam Howell stuff, there were a lot of little tidbits. Byron Murphy is now running with the starters, which that's going to definitely get some people excited. According to, I think it was Greg Bell, he's lining up on the nose tackle spot, and he's lining up with his shoulder over the tackle as well. So we're seeing some versatile usage from him, and we know from Texas that he can do both. He can do nose tackle, and he can play as a, I guess you could call it a 4-eye or a 3-tech. And it looks like we're going to try to utilize him in every which way he can be used. So he's already taken the starting job. Well, I mean, for training camp purposes. I don't think he's actually going to start over Leonard Williams. Maybe he starts opposite him, depending on what alignment we end up using. But things are trending in the right direction for him. And it was kind of emblematic of the defense giving much better effort, according to some of the things that I heard from the reporters. Darrell Taylor actually had a really good day, and I still wonder if Darrell Taylor is going to make the team. But he's so far been looking pretty good. So Darrell Taylor had some plays that would have been sacks if it wasn't training camp. Uchenna Nwosu looked really good. That was another thing that Greg Bell talked about a little bit. I think it was Greg Bell anyway. Let me make sure I give credit to the right person here. No, that was John Boyle who was talking about that. So Uchenna Nwosu, his ability to get back to what he was in 2022 and be that 9 to 10 sack a year guy. We're not asking for 15, 16. We're asking for 9 or 10 is a big deal. So Nwosu getting back to form, as we've seen so far in training camp, is a big deal. Witherspoon continues to do Witherspoon stuff. He blew up a screen pass to he didn't blow it up, but he was able to stop it after a very trivial gain on Charbonnet, which that's his game. That's what he loves to do, and you love to see it. So there's things happening with his defense. They were able to gut out a few things that we hadn't seen the first couple of days. Again, no turnovers, which, they're going to take that personally a little bit, especially a guy like McDonald that loves the ball, that loves to take the ball away. So it's not all great yet, but again, I think the offense is going to be better than the defense this year. I think that we're seeing the seeds of that being planted in training camp, where the offense is already a little bit ahead of the defense, it looks like. So, pretty good. I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to let that autoplay. But play of the day was a Lockett touchdown where he made a toe-tapping catch. I'm not going to play it on stream, but if you follow the Seahawks on social media at all, you've probably seen it. It was very borderline. It could have easily been an incomplete pass. I think they called it a touchdown. So, he's here. Tyler Lockett's still doing Tyler Lockett things. Don't leave this guy for dead yet. I know everybody's moving on to JSN because he's the new hotness. People are moving on to Jake Bobo. Obviously, people are still gravitating around Metcalf because he's our most talented receiver. But Lockett, don't count him out. He's got another year of quality football left in him. It's not going to be legendarily big volume production or anything like that, but he's going to help this team win a lot more than he causes the team to lose. That's for sure. He's still got it. So if you haven't seen this touchdown from Lockett yet, go look it up. It's fun. It's good. It's classic Lockett. And it reminds you that this guy can do it. So, Twitter, man, or X. They can't stop with the auto-playing video. Sorry about that. But One other thing that came out of this particular training camp session that I want to draw attention to would be Trey Brown, because Trey Brown had the coverage on Lockett on this touchdown, where his coverage was really good. Lockett just made an amazing catch. And on the two previous plays, Geno threw a fade route to DK Metcalf, and Trey Brown was able to prevent a completion on both plays. Trey Brown is like 6 inches shorter than Metcalf, probably, for those of you who maybe forgot. It's a pretty big deal that he's able to keep up in that situation. So Trey Brown, having a good training camp so far. It was a really good session yesterday, and people are starting to get hyped about him too. He's in danger of becoming the forgotten man in this cornerback room, but he's good. He can play. There are some things that he brings to the table that the other cornerbacks on this team don't necessarily bring. And he's, he's kind of playing for a contract, right? Because after this year, I think he's probably going to be looking to take his talent somewhere else. I don't think we're going to be able to afford to keep him if he plays well. We might not even want to keep him. So he's got something to prove. And so far, he's looking like he's going to probably have the best year of his career. Now, that'll kind of happen by virtue of the fact that he's going to play more than he usually does, or hopefully have at least a healthy season, which he's struggled to put together so far. But Trey Brown's going to have to take advantage of the opportunities he gets, because he's not a guy who's going to start every game. He's not a guy who's going to play 50 snaps every game until people get hurt, if they do. We also, Witherspoon, that was the other guy I wanted to draw attention to. He continues to make some good plays out there. And again, we are auto-playing. What are we doing, X? What are we doing? Witherspoon. It seems like every single training camp session, he's good for at least several good plays and a lot of fire and a lot of passion. So even when I don't call it out, it's there. So it continues to show that we got a special one with Devin Witherspoon. So he goes to the sideline after practice is over to sign some autographs. So pretty cool. And continues to be kind of the spark plug of this whole thing. A couple of injury notes from the end of the training camp session today. Nothing too big. Draymond Jones left with a leg injury late in practice, but it seemed very minor. He stayed on the sidelines and watched, didn't go in and immediately start getting work done on it. George Fant got a day off, but it's believed to be because it was a veteran day off. He wasn't hurt. He just gets the day off because he's old. So because of that, McClendon Curtis actually got work at right tackle with the first team. So there's a scenario here where McClendon Curtis ends up playing right tackle for this team during the season. It's possible. So the fact that he's getting this work in now is good. It certainly wouldn't be good if he was forced out there and had to do it, because he's a guard in my estimation. But there's a scenario where he ends up out there because you've got Abe Lucas with his bad knee as the starter, and George Fant, older player, behind Abe Lucas. So if it happens, you want to be at least a little bit ready. And I know that McClendon Curtis being out there at right tackle would probably not be any better than Jake Curhan, and we don't want to go through that stuff. Again, we're trying to do better than that. We're trying to be better than just having some emergency option at right tackle, like 42-year-old Jason Peters off the couch or Jake Curhan. But if it happens, better he gets a little bit of work now. Jerome Baker got the day off as well. Probably a veteran day off because he's just coming back from an injury. One side effect of that is that Tyrese Knight actually got to work with the first team at defense. And I continue to believe that he's not going to be really ready to play much this year, but, experience builds over time. And realistically, we may need him to play some defense at some point this year, because Jerome Baker and Tyrell Dodson are not the most dependable people on the planet. Baker is coming off a pretty significant injury last year. Dodson's played one half of a really good season, but other than that has been kind of invisible in his career. So if Knight has to go out there at some point, it wouldn't be shocking. DJ James also did not practice, but I didn't see any indication that it was related to some significant injury. Other than that, I know Nehemiah Pritchett got beat up by DK Metcalf, which everybody in the world should expect. Like, Nehemiah Pritchett as a rookie against DK Metcalf as a veteran. Not really a fair fight, but Pritchett definitely had a welcome to the NFL moment on some red zone drills. A couple of touchdowns he gave up. PJ Walker looked good. He hit Brady Russell on a really nice throw over the middle. He actually looks better than Sam Howell so far, according to most people. And that's the rundown. So I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. That's day 3.